Good afternoon. Okay. My name is Audrey Kerger. I am with A6 Wellness. I am based out of Scottsdale, Arizona. I work with health coaching and CBD therapy and just educating the general public. Today we are here to speak on topicals. So if you're looking for that room, you are in the right place. So thank you for joining us. We have three amazing people joining us on this panel today, and I'm going to let each one of them introduce themselves. We're then going to pose a couple of questions for the panelists, and then of course we will have open forum for each of you to be able to do a Q&A as well. So we will start at the end with Dr. J. Please introduce yourself. Thank you.
Okay, good afternoon, everyone. My name is Jay Elleby. I was an active duty plastic surgeon, retired many years ago, still teach voluntarily at the University of Miami, where I'm a dedicated cane. But over a year ago, I became interested in medical cannabis and have now treated over 600 patients at clinics, particularly at the Miracle Leaf, where I primarily work, which has clinics around Miami and are opening around the state. I have tremendous belief in the value of cannabis in medicine. We're going to talk about topicals, but if any of you have any questions regarding CBD, THC, orally or otherwise, by all means, please feel free in the Q&A afterward, or grab me in the hall, or come upstairs to Miracle Leaf, whichever you prefer, and I'll try and answer them. The cannabis plant is truly a miracle. In case you think it's a modern miracle, let me tell you that historically the first evidence we have of it is 4000 BC. The Chinese cultivated it. In 2000 BC, they wrote about it. It was spread, of course, to Europe, to this country, and it might surprise you to know that if you ever visit Washington, D.C. and take the wonderful trip down to Mount Vernon and see the home of our national leader, possibly the greatest American who ever lived, George Washington, you will find the plots where he cultivated cannabis. He had wooden teeth with chronic pain, and he knew that if he chewed on the plant, he could alleviate some of that pain. Another person who you've all heard about was Thomas Jefferson. If you ever have the opportunity, by all means, visit his home, which he designed, the University of Virginia nearby, which he designed, which are marvels. And he cultivated marijuana, cannabis plant. It's a wondrous plant which eventually, through all of its forms, will be hailed, and I mean this sincerely, as a modern day wonder drug. It will do things topically, orally, and inhalation-wise that no other medication can do. Thank you.
Next.
Hi everyone, my name is Shanna Bynes, and my company is Grow Out Oils. And a little bit about my background: I've been in aesthetics for the past 17 years, so I've worked for plastic surgeons and dermatologists that form their own product line. My specialty area is dermal absorption of topical ingredients and also natural ingredients that can improve the health of the skin, the scalp, the eyebrows, as well as the fingernails. During my journey of working in the industry, you know, I've talked to so many clients that are using medicine versus something else that would be more alternative for them, that would be good for them. And I am a firm believer also that cannabis oil is a miracle oil. And a couple of products that my company has, we use hemp seed oil, which does not have THC in it, but the benefits are very much so prevalent in terms of giving the skin and the scalp the health that it needs. It has amino acids in it. So today I'm really glad to be here with you all, and if you have any questions about, you know, how ingredients are absorbed into the skin and things of that sort, you know, feel free to ask.
Thank you.
Hello, my name is Joanna Paterson. I'm with several different, affiliated with several different companies. I myself am a health angel. We pride ourselves on welcoming people onto the highway to health. I'm a patient advisor. I'm also an educator for medical professionals, therapists, natural practitioners in aiding them in beginning to understand the endocannabinoid system as a healer and the practical application of cannabinoid therapy. We focus on the holistic benefits of the endocannabinoid system as opposed to focusing straight on THC and CBD, working with the health of the endocannabinoid system and bringing the system from deficiency and up into the results that we hear so much about with cannabis and hemp alike, using that to make cannabis and hemp work for you. Understanding your personal dosages, understanding what messages that system might be telling you about your total overall health. So I'm excited to work with therapists, patients in home care, autoimmune disorders, things like that, the holistic approach to practical application.
Well, as you can see, we have an amazing group with us today to share. There are some major topical questions that I think are on the top of everyone's mind that I'm going to ask about. Again, my name is Audrey Kerger, and I'm with A6 Wellness. I do health and wellness coaching throughout the United States and in Europe as well. I teach on cannabis and its history, and I work with cannabisradio.com. I have a show called Hi, I'm Healthy, where I interview doctors and scientists and other industry professionals from around the world. So I'd like to just start with asking the panelists, and we can start in any order. What types of products have you currently seen on the market that are topical? I know that some of you have your own brands. I know that a lot of you are very well educated about different things that are on the market. So what types of products can be found currently today?
Well, I've seen a lot of products in terms of lotions, salves, bath salts that are out on the market that you're actually using to apply on the body versus ingesting.
I think a good definition, as it were, there's topical application where we use a salve and a lotion to put on the skin in a topical application. That would mean, sort of in the clinical sense, that salve or topical does not penetrate the bloodstream. So salves with certain oils and coconut or cocoa butter and things like that. Typically, if it's a salve that you're finding in a dispensary or even at Sprouts and health and wellness stores, for the most part, 95% of those are going to be non-penetrating into the bloodstream. So if they have cannabis in them and you cannot have the THC in your system, it's probably a good option for you. Topical application is different than transdermal application. So with topicals, it's salves, lotions, creams, bath salts, products like that. In the transdermal market, we're finding more and more transdermal patches. Those do penetrate the bloodstream. So there's transdermal creams. Also in that method includes suppositories. So that's more of a topical application in a transdermal fashion. Does that make sense? Is there different? Okay.
Dr. J, do you have anything to add for different ways of using a topical product?
Yeah, I'd like to speak to what they referred to. As of now, we use Merkley CBD oil, which we happen to get from Oregon. It's purified, it's very effective. But there are no medical tests that tell you when you apply this to the skin, whether you massage it or not, how much of that active ingredient actually goes down to where you want it to, perhaps a sore joint or a difficult deep layer. And the problem with, I think all of the companies have pure CBD oils. You should be aware that in the state of Florida, which is one of 30 legal medical marijuana states, CBD oil must contain less than 0.3% THC, which makes it basically pure CBD oil. And I've had reports from patients who have used it who swear by it, and others who say it's ineffective. To me, the jury is still out unless and until someone can definitively show perhaps the transdermal one, as she said, is the answer. Perhaps combining it with a penetrating chemical such as DMSO, which we know will penetrate the skin but has a lot of other adverse effects, is the answer. I just can't say for certain how much benefit, although there are patients who absolutely swear by it.
Mm-hmm.
Wonderful.
Well,
Go ahead. Yeah.
just to add to what he said, the thing that we know about the skin is that when you apply something topical to the skin, that's an oil, it's very compatible, so it's able to absorb to the cellular level. So again, when you're looking at different products, it just might be a conversation of what are the constituents or the components that are in that product that you're going to be applying topically.
Carriers. Yeah.
Wonderful. So, kind of speaking, oh yes, you have a question.
So,
Do you
did
have
I
a
hear you
microphone? Hold 1 second.
We have a mic for you.
Mike, thank you. Thank you. Did I hear you say that on a topical application such as salves, lotions, etc., it is not penetratable to the bloodstream? Is that correct? Whereas a
That's
transdermal
exactly
method
where I'm
is.
going.
But isn't that contrary to what you just said?
Well, it depends on the product that you're going to be using.
And it depends on your endocannabinoid
Exactly.
system, actually.
Yeah.
So if I have a
Well, excuse
CBD
me,
infused
why does
lotion,
it depend on the
Well, it depends
endocannabinoid?
if what you are looking to accomplish in your goals through cannabis and CBD. If it's neuropathy, it's clearly different than a minor.
You're talking about a whole different topic if you get
Yeah.
into
I was just-
endocannabinoid. We're not talking about the skin.
my
That's a
question
whole
was-
separate thing which could take up a whole hour, and I'd be happy to expound on it, but it is not related to topical.
So
wait, I
your
think we got
question,
way
going back
misunderstood here.
to
Pardon me?
your question, the difference between transdermal.
Well, how this segment started was, okay, we started talking about topical applications. One was in the form of salves, etc. The other was a transdermal method. My question, and then the conversation went on, which kind of contradicted what you both said. And I'm asking, am I hearing this correctly? The salve lotion method does not penetrate into the bloodstream, whereas the transdermal method does. Am I correct
referring
in
to
that?
cannabinoids or
Yes.
or regular.
You're talking
I mean,
about topicals,
Well,
CBD
right,
cannabis
infused topicals,
or-
correct?
I'm sorry. Go
So,
ahead.
so if you're using the patch, like she was saying, the components and the components of it is different. So it's able to penetrate and break into the bloodstream. That's
So
what
my
she was
next
trying to say.
question for the panelists might actually answer your question,
Okay.
which
Right.
is, will you get intoxicated using topicals, and what about drug testing for those who are going to have that concern?
Well, most topical products, they don't have enough of the actual THC in it to, like as she was saying, break into the bloodstream. It's actually the muscular part that you're dealing with. So no, you're not going to get intoxicated. But if you're using a patch, like she was saying, then yes, you would get intoxicated and you probably would test positive.
From CBD oil? Or what are we talking about?
I will enter a vigorous dissent to that
Right.
comment.
Okay, so when looking at these different topical products, such as these CBD-rich products versus THC-rich products, what are we going to be able to see on a drug test? Because we already know that utilizing a topical with a high level of THC is not going to cause an intoxication for the individual. So with that being said, are there still going to be a fear of a positive drug test utilizing a high THC or a high CBD topical product? Do any of the panelists want to answer that question?
Well, you talk
kinda
about
loaded.
you talk about high THC products. You're talking about illegal products.
Yeah.
In Florida, let me reiterate, 0.3% THC. That is the law. When you start talking about high THC, you're breaking the law, at least in Florida. You can go to any of the 10 recreational states, Colorado, Oregon, Washington, California, District of Columbia, I don't even remember the other, but there are 10. But in Florida, if we're all from Florida, be careful if you get anything above 0.3% THC, the state and the Department of Health can come down on you and cite you for illegal use.
There are several products on the market that are THC free, that are hemp based and under 0.3. So when I talk about cannabinoids, I'm talking about the full spectrum of THC, CBD, CBG, and all of these things. So in a CBD topical cream or a salve, even though it's not penetrating the bloodstream, the benefits are very, if I could just clear this, typically used for psoriasis and eczema and external symptoms of an internal problem, to relieve the pain and to relieve itching and things like that. If the product were to be transdermal, a transdermal application, the particles would have to be broken down many times. And so if you're choosing a CBD product, and it is in fact under 0.03, you can travel with it, put it on liberally every day, all day long, as much as you would like. CBD entering your bloodstream is certainly your choice, but nothing to worry about in a urinalysis or a blood test. If you were to walk into a dispensary and that is a 1-in-1 ratio that definitely has THC in it, definitely has CBD in it, it would be my opinion that is up to the person using it to decide if it's okay to be in the bloodstream or not, depending on what they're using it for and things like that. It is a toss-up when it comes to the psychology of topicals also. So I do have a lot of people that say, I used this hemp cream and it said it was THC free, and I went and got a UA and I came up dirty. It's because of the CBD. Okay, but were you in and around a space where somebody might have been, oh, I ate that cookie at that must have been it. Yep, that must have been it. There's a lot of times where someone uses a CBD cream every day, all day long, and they do come in contact with cannabinoids in a different fashion. We do run into misconceptions in that way a lot. If you're using a THC product, beware, because although it might not have everything to do with the endocannabinoid system, taking that risk is up to the patient and up to the person, no matter how that company. I think a lot of the time it can come down to branding also. Does it say hemp oil? Does it say CBD?
Well,
Does
I
it
think
say?
the basic question is a straight yes or no. Can you become intoxicated is a no. And
No.
you cannot become intoxicated by rubbing THC oil on your body or a cream.
Well, where are you getting this THC oil? Not in this state.
Yeah.
Well, we're talking in, I mean, there's
Yeah, are we
multiple people
moving to
from all over.
Colorado or
Well,
Oregon?
multiple people are
Well, in general, it's a
Colorado.
biological question.
Yeah, and I'm from Arizona, so this is a room of not
But this
just
is a
Floridians.
room for Florida, and Florida doesn't allow THC,
Right.
period.
Right.
Not above 0.3% in any form.
But I think it's about education, though.
This is
You know,
about-
Yes,
people
we're
yeah.
trying to
wanna know
educate an
answers to
audience, and
questions.
things are changing ever so quickly, and the next thing you know, this could be a therapeutic usage state, which some states are calling recreational usage, but because we have an ECS, let's call it as it is. So let's move forward
Can I
to our.
just ask my question?
Oh, yes, please.
So I understand that the skin is porous, and whatever we put on our skin ends up in our bodies.
Mhm.
So, everything that we use on our skin gets absorbed in, it may not absorb all of the nutrients in, but where, our skin does take in, it does cross that blood barrier in the dermis, and ends up in our bodies. We know that if we use, ingredients that are toxic, they will end up in the liver. That's science. But one of the things I just want to know more about is the maybe a deeper explanation about the transdermal patches and what is the science? How does it get absorbed
Typically,
into
I
the
think
bloodstream?
there's many companies out there. Present Naturals is one of them. Mary's Medicinals is far and away probably the most well known. There's reservoir patches, which are sort of when you open the package, there's chances of leakage and all of those things. That's a very it is transdermal, but not as effective for all over this. And then there's the matrix patches. The matrix patches are typically time released over a 24-hour period. Typically, these companies play by different rules with the labs and manufacturing of the product because it has to be pharmaceutical grade. All materials have to be, and those facilities do have to be inspected by the FDA. Some of the best testing that are associated with those products are cadaver skin testing, flux rate testing, and HPLC testing.
Are they
So-
all nanoparticles, and are they all isolates?
Most of them will be, but I know that the use of beneficial terpenes are the carriers in those patches and formulations. I have a list of organic chemists that I can link you in with. But yes, you will. I have experienced several different transdermal applications, and the time-release matrix patches, I have to say, with people pre and post-op, just CBD, getting the neuroprotection going and the digestive protection going to arm the endocannabinoid system and the immune system pre and post-surgical to benefit in protecting against hospital-related infections and things like that. So CBD we do sort of as a protectant. If you're flying, if you're having just a THC-free CBD patch can do a lot of good. Then I've experienced the indica, sativa, and hybrid patches over 40 milligrams over a 24-hour period. And I have to say, the cadaver skin testing came out about 1 milligram per hour. We can get very accurate on pesticides and contaminants on the testing for transdermal application. I think everyone is really sort of turning on to this new concept in cannabinoids. But as long as they are formulated correctly in the nano form using beneficial terpenes and pharmaceutical grade materials every step of the way, I think we're in the clear, but they are powerful. But I do find in people over 50 that it's a much more regulatory method instead of digestion. Sort of 11-hydroxy-THC takes into account, they get part of the therapeutic results that they were looking for, but then there's the psychoactivity or what have you. I feel like it's more of a streamlined application for someone looking to maintain a level of health rather than treat an acute spasm or things like that. So the introduction into the system is way different than the other methods. Transdermal lady, sorry.
So let's move on to talking about shelf life of cannabis-infused products, regardless of what they are infused with. Do we see that there is a typical shelf life associated with these products?
I think for the most part, the shelf life is going to depend on the preparation, the method, and also the way that it's being stored. I mean, honestly, if you were eating an edible, for example, the shelf life might be shorter. But if you were storing the product, such as a salve or a body lotion, you would probably be able to store it safely and have the shelf life extended.
Stabilizers.
Wonderful. And Is it safe to travel with topical products?
Depends on what's in it. Again, CBD oil can be obtained by every single person in every state in this country. CBD oil is legal. It's only if you introduce THC that you get into problems. As far as I know, pure CBD oil has an unlimited shelf life until opened. It's a pure product that can be stored indefinitely, like many other pure products. We get it from Oregon, others get it from hemp seeds. There are different sources, but CBD oil is a pure form that can be indefinitely held until opened.
Wonderful. So I want to open the floor. I know there are a lot of people in here that are looking to learn more in-depth information on this subject, so please feel free to raise your hand if you have a question. We have a couple of.
Can I ask who works with the plant, who makes their own?
It's okay, go ahead.
Hello, everyone. Thank you for being here. Can you recommend a product that would be great for the hair, hair regrowth or hair restoration
Well,
that you know of on the market?
I have a product line, and it's formulated to help stimulate hair growth. A lot of times when I am talking to clients about any conditions that they're having with the scalp, I always refer back to what are they washing the hair with, what are they, putting conditioner on the hair, and pretty much what their regimen would look like. So because this isn't a sales class, it's more so education. If you want to see me afterwards, I'll be more than happy to talk to you about it.
What kind of, since CBD is a lipid, usually in skincare products, it's great with butters and other oils. But if you wanted to make a lotion with a CBD product, do you need to use a water-based CBD formula, or would you take a extract and somehow convert it into a lotion?
That is, there's really a level of freedom with formulating and creating with CBD in so many different forms. There's isolate, the crystalline form, which added with heat and oil bond perfectly at certain temperatures. There are nano or miscible concentrates and applications that you can acquire that are water and oil soluble. Those also constitute as transdermal. Also, in the concentrated forms of crystalline isolate, there are at least 6 ways that you can put them in or on the body. So by taking away heat or applying heat or double boiling and all of these fantastic alchemic methods that we're used to. So sort of reverse engineering a product some of the time, what are your goals with the product, would sort of lead you to the concentrated form to start working with it. Does that make sense? Oil, water miscible, and all these things. Like, see, I can help you with some of those things, but again, using the same medicine. This is what is we have so much freedom at the beginning of this industry, is that we have these beautiful, concentrated, clean, tested resources to experiment and create. That one product, we can make suppositories in certain ratios with other plants, and chaga and reishi and other applications are going to be in a med spa capacity. It's the same product that you can put in your water and drink all day. That's also in your topical or the tincture that you can put it.
Right.
It's
So
freedom.
Is a full spectrum going to be better for your skin than an isolate? in a skincare product?
Well, when you look at formulation, I find that products that are closer to your own lipids are going to help penetrate deeper into the skin. So again, it's really about the end results that you're looking for, in terms of using a product that's maybe water-based versus oil with an oil, or something more hydrating that's going to actually help that oil penetrate deeper into the skin.
Because the skin
It's up to
barrier is
you.
water and
Yeah,
oil.
it's
It's really up to you and what your goals are.
I
with
mean,
your
I
product.
like oils, but some people want something lighter, and then it depends on your skin type. If you're an oilier skin type, you might want to use something that's water-based. If you're on the drier side, you might want to use something that's more of an oil-based.
I would agree. In our experience, a pure oil is most beneficial as a moisturizer. If you have conditions specifically like dry, scaly skin or even psoriasis, then CBD oil is wonderfully beneficial. As soon as you convert it to a lotion, you now have a drying product, not a moisturizer. As my dermatologist friend said to me, if you want to moisturize your face, just wash or wet it with water and put on petroleum, put on mineral oil, any of them. They are as good as anything with a trade name. Your skin does not know trade names of the fancy boutiques in all the department stores. It knows oil, it knows water. It
Has
does not
anyone
know
learned
trade
a
names.
lot about the endocannabinoid system this weekend? Okay, so skin, hair, and nails also are related heavily to the autoimmune system, our immunities. We have CB1 receptors and CB2 receptors in this 12th system of the body. We talk about it a lot, but what are some of the supplements that we take for hair, skin, and nails internally? Omega 3 and 6s, right? Biotin, all of those. So thinking about the skin on the outside and the inside, that's your endocannabinoid system. That's the system that we make endogenous cannabinoids. We accept phytocannabinoids like THC and CBD. So making your beautiful lotions and salves and things like that, they're doing an amazing job. And if we can just think about applying the hemp seed oil for omegas and proteins and take care of our inside receptors and our outside receptors, healing from the inside out and outside in, that's going to help and support this system, which helps and supports your stem cells and your skin and hair follicles. So it's really this support system that we're looking for goals and results from phytocannabinoids and laying the soil to be putting seeds of cannabinoids into. Really getting into that system, you'll start to understand the synergy in which cannabinoids react with us. Our bioavailability is its bioavailability to us and vice versa.
Wonderful.
We live here in the Sunshine State, and I and a number of friends have problems with sun damage to the skin. And you almost answered this question, but my question is, would it be better to have a topical application type of CBD products, or to take it internally, or do a combination to treat it?
Both.
Both.
If you have sun-damaged skin, I think you better see a pretty good dermatologist, because you're going to start growing solar actinic keratoses, which are precursors to skin cancers, basal cells, squamous cells, and unfortunately they think melanomas. So I think you can talk about CBD all you want, but I'd sure go to a dermatologist and evaluate that sun-damaged skin first.
Absolutely, but again, in daily life and when we're talking about not just CBD, but THC and the benefits of both the plants, hemp and cannabis, we're really talking about those receptors in this system, inside out, outside in. We'll always pretty much recommend for any vitamins, nutrients, minerals, all of those things that make our biological world go around and promote healthy skin cells, healthy cells within the body. We also have these receptors inside our immune cells. The CB2 receptors, if you want to write it down and do a little research after this panel, that those receptors are inside our skin and ready to accept the nutrients from these plants. Our skin is made for it, for outside and inside. I
Do you
can't
have another
stress that
question?
enough.
I wanted to ask, what's the whole panel's experience with female products, such as the ones treating vaginal dryness? You have yeast infections, bacterial vaginosis. Now you said inside out, outside in.
Right.
So I know you can take CBD internally for your overall general health, but do you find that products that target those areas directly with CBD, if they are in existence, I don't know, helps better, or you would more direct the female to just take care of her general health? Because it is those reactions, those symptoms are saying something is internally unbalanced.
Oh,
So you have to
cannabinoid,
balance
we're
things.
just getting to the tip of women's health. I mean, in the industry, but I do know of a small group of several products that are everything from dryness and menopause to just right.
There are a lot of companies out there that have
Right.
products
Stony
for
Yoni is
a
really good.
female that are meant for internal and external use.
And both CBD and THC.
I
but
think
they're nutrients.
The most important thing is to do your research on, like, if it's a company that you're interested in using their product, contact them. Even go on to their website and see if they have any safety data sheets or white sheets available. If they don't, you can always still contact the company and see if you can talk to someone so that you can find out a little bit more about how they process, how they're manufacturing the products, what are they putting in there that maybe is not listed on the website. That way you'll feel more comfortable.
Also, they're having a lot of good luck with MCT oil, coconut oil, all of the things that we would are natural and safe for us, and bonding CBD to it. Really, a lot of the time it's just adding that last phytocannabinoid that, since it's non-toxic, non-psychoactive, it's a good bet that it can help in one capacity or another. And we certainly know that menstrual cramps, endometriosis, and things like that transdermal creams and topical creams, just for the cramping and anxiety, is kicking a bunch of butt.
We have another question.
Thanks. You mentioned MCT oil. As far as bioavailability goes and housing a CBD inside MCT oil or another oil, is there any oils that you find are more bioavailable for oral or internal use? And then also, are there other or the same oil that would be just as or more bioavailable one than another for topical use?
That's a really common question, but it's really, really broad. What your goals are in your product, or what you're looking to accomplish for your clients or your product. That's really doing your research on certain circulatory herbs and oils. It doesn't, CBD or THC in certain forms don't really affect the system physiologically. It's much different than any other compound that we're using. It's just that it's a different compound that our body happens to love very much and is bioavailable to us. So MCT, coconut oil, terpene profiles is another one for
like housing alcohol, or sometimes people talk oil.
Well, the thing is that when you look at, there's over 21 different carrier oils. So it's really going to depend on what are you trying to achieve with this product. So when you take a look at it, there's not a stopping point in terms of how you make a blend or how much of something you put into a product. It's all about the efficaciousness of it, like the feel of it. What is it supposed to do? So you really have to just take a look at, what am I making this product for, and what do I want the end results to be? And that's going to help guide you into what you're going to put into the product. And then, like she was saying, you look at the herbs, and then what carrier oils that you want to include into the blend that you're putting together, if that makes any sense.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
Dr. J, do you have anything to add?
No, I stick strictly to the medical part. I think the other is dermatologic, and we have no other use other than the CBD oil, which we use for extreme wonderful moisturizer. And again, I think probably every high-grade CBD oil is similar, if not identical.
Right.
So that I don't think any company can manufacture with impurities and hope to get by in this
Right.
day and age. I want you all to remember, we're talking about an industry in its infancy. Remember, in the state of Florida, the referendum only passed a year ago, November. Our wonderful legislators did not get around to promoting rules until the following June. So you're talking about something that is in its infancy, and I commend you to do the research because you are on the ground floor of a burgeoning industry. Will we ever get recreational? I have no idea. I do know the lawsuit passed the first judge, it passed the appellate court, and then our governor through the Department of Health appealed. That's where it stands now. When will that appeal be heard? No one knows, or if they do, they certainly won't say. But the main thing is keep abreast of everything. It's growing every day.
So, do we have any other questions from the audience specifically around topicals and their usage or how the body is working with them? And do we have any last words from our panelists?
Do you have any recommendations for formulators? Do you have any formulator recommendations?
Honestly, I am really big on doing your own research. And so, I mean, I have looked at a lot of different companies, and I find that the learning curve has been actually doing the research on your own, and then finding out what you want to formulate. Because again, when you outsource something, you really don't know exactly how they go about extracting or distilling or storage. And if you do it and you do the research, you're giving yourself more empowerment to have more control over the end result with the product, and you'll definitely have the education behind it. So I would say to do the research, have fun with it, and don't limit yourself, because again, when you're putting products together, you can do a lot with them if you keep your mind open. And then look at all the ingredients that are at your disposal. So even if you're using carrier oils to formulate a product with essential oils or with CBD, or let's say you're using herbs and you're using those herbs to submerge the herbs into a carrier oil to come up with a formulation. Just, have fun with it and be open-minded, but do the research.
Most of the time, your product is going to do several different things. If you wanted to package it several different ways, it will be effective in several different ways. If you look at what CBD does in a nutshell, even not even from hemp, but and it's anti-inflammatory. It's a protective. It's skin. It's an adaptogen.
Are there any phenols in CBD?
Any what?
Phenols?
I don't think so.
Phenols, like polyphenols? No.
No.
Just yes.
That's a potent compound.
Right.
We use it for chemical peels, the deepest kind.
That's right.
So I would doubt it's any CNO.
TCA pills. There's phenols in them.
Any other questions?
I have a question.
We just have 5 minutes left of this session.
Okay, my question has to do with the efficacy of CBD-based bath bombs and soaps and things like that. Is it really doing anything to create a product like a bath bomb, with CBD? Is it really just marketing that something like that has CBD in it, or are you really? You throw a bath bomb in the water, are you really absorbing and getting, any benefits from CBD, or are you just kind of wasting your CBD?
I really think so. And in the practical application and the programs that we work with massage therapists and with formulators and naturopathic doctors and things, it's really interesting with how creative they can get with the directions for a product like that. For example, I work with a naturopathic doctor who also is an acupuncturist and an energy healer and a formulator herself, and she chose to recommend dry brushing the lymphatic system, like we all should have been taught, and expressing and sloughing, then using whether it's her CBD rich and essential oils rich sugar scrub, leave it on for 20 minutes, and then go ahead and get in the bath and soak in it. So it's really the process in which you would like it to enter your system. A lot of it is going to be in the practical application. Also, it's my experience that if a person has already been engaging in hemp oil as far as for nutrition, cooking with it, integrating it into their bodies, they're going to be, their system is sort of starting to be primed and sustaining a certain level of cannabinoid acceptance. So if you're using it, you take a tincture during the day and you look forward to that bath bomb at night, you are accepting it into your system, and the endocannabinoid systems can sort of take over and put it where it needs to go. You have to realize the endocannabinoid system, the first time it's ever activating is during breastfeeding. It's an extremely primal system for comfort, pain relief, nourishment, basic primal nourishment. So when a cannabinoid does enter the system, depending on how efficient your body is ready to accept them, your results can be, if you're really engaging with all of the plant, not necessarily all of cannabis, but if you're ready to accept it, if you happen to some of your methods, if you don't smoke, a lot of people don't want to vape, a lot of people don't want to smoke, they want to accept CBD in other ways. Tinctures, inside method, you're laying a groundwork for your CB2 receptors to take over in the skin, and vice versa.
Any last questions? We have about 2 moments left. We have one more in the corner.
Kudos to all the formulators. Get in there.
Do you need some sort of certification or license to have a CBD topical company in Florida?
I have no idea. I really don't. I don't think it's regulated because CBD oil is freely available. I mean, just on your internet, you can get a half a dozen every day about CBD oil, orders. So it's hard for me to imagine that there's any kind of licensure thus far. Again, as long as it's less than this 0.3% THC.
And be aware of what you're ordering online. A lot of the time, if you type in CBD oil into Amazon or even Walmart.com, it'll come up every time. You don't know where that was extracted. You don't know if that came from someone's bathtub or...
You don't even know if it's snake oil.
You don't even know. Yeah, so, and there are certain things in the US and certain things on Google and all these websites that are designed to be confusing. Hemp oil, what does that mean? This is a hemp oil supplement. Do we know if it's hemp seed oil, which is the nutrient, which has never been illegal, that's always been available to us, however, got sort of lost in the shuffle as far as a health and wellness. Fish oil sort of took over. So that hemp oil can be an omega-3 supplement. It can be part of our active diet. Does hemp oil mean CBD oil? No. Can we put concentrated CBD oil on our personal websites or our compliant labels? No. We have to put hemp oil. Does that mean it has CBD in it? Who knows? So be aware. The self-research, like I said, is it's valuable. Watch out for .com, .net, .org, and .gov. They all have different information on it. you know,
Is there a listing of products that have been challenged, or where the consumer can go to review products? Are there great product review
you know, there's
areas? Yeah.
there's Leafly, there's Weed, you know, there are these sites.
Leafly, Leaf Buyer, there's a lot of websites, there's a lot of education just using a Google search. We are up for our time, it is 3:50, there is a 4 o'clock event in this room. So if you'd like over the next 10 minutes, please come up, exchange cards with our presenter.